Hey, Charlie Bushnell from Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Hey, Arian Simhadri, also from Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
It's a pretty cool sword you got there.
Oh, yeah, you think so?
By nice, I mean stupid.
I don't like the way you're looking at me right now.
Oh, buddy, you're about to see why they call me the goat.
Guys! Not this again. I'm the stunt coordinator. You're gonna get me fired.
He started it.
You started it. You can't fight without me. Let's go.
Thank you for being here. Welcome to episode 4 of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians official podcast. That's the biggest episode we've ever put out for this show. But I wanted to talk about, I think, something that can be overlooked when it comes to making huge episodes like this feel so magical. Stunts. They teach us sword fighting, they teach us how to work with wires, and all of the riggers are so incredible. They make sure we're always safe when we're flying. They choreograph all of our fights and our stunt sequences. One of, I think, my favorite stories that I have with stunts is one night I was out in Vancouver with Walker and Charlie, and I had a bit of an unfortunate incident with a cyclist, and my face got very friendly with the sharp end of a brick. I came to set, and I was like freaking out because my face was like swollen shut on one side, basically. And I had this huge gash, which I still have, it's still healing. I remember Eli pulled me aside and I was like, dude, I don't know what to do. I can't, do we write it in? Like, what do I do? What do I do about this? I'm so sorry that this happened, because this would never happen if it was like a stunt on the show, you know? This happened on my own time, which I think is ridiculous. But I was just like, I'm so sorry, I can't believe this happened. And he's like, dude, chill out, we can just write it in. And just like that, they wrote it in a little kind of confrontation in the show. And Vesh, my stunt double, came in and he sold that hit hard. And I was just free to work for the rest of the day without thinking about it. And I think that's a perfect way to kind of describe what stunts does for us. They put their bodies on the line so we don't have to. They make us look cool, and they also keep us safe. And we have the most incredible stunts team in the world, and everybody should know that. So thank you to our stunts team. They were firing on all cylinders this episode, and they have been for all season. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first guests, the one and only Tamara Valerie Smart and Charlie Ray Bushnell. Thank you guys for being here.
Dude, no, thank you for having us on the pod.
I love the middle naming.
It's an honor.
I love the middle naming, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Did you say
Arian, middle
my
name Simhadri.
What?
Did you say my
Yeah,
middle
Charlie
name?
Ray
Ray.
Bushnell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is your middle name, right?
It is, yes.
Okay. I thought it'd be a good way to start episode 4 by talking about the flashbacks, which are a new addition to this season in the book. And they're my favorite addition. I think they flesh out all of our characters. But I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
I mean, it was, first of all, it was so much fun to work with you.
Yeah, this is the
we
first
didn't-
time we worked together.
I know, we had nothing. I think we had one scene in season 1 where
Do we even?
it was you guys were on the train. But we didn't interact at all. You were there, but
Yeah.
it was the iris message.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was our only day on set together. So to actually work with you was so much fun.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's we've obviously heard about Luke, Talía, and Annabeth and their time together on the road, and but to actually see it come to life, I think is really important. And I'm just glad that we were able to, like you said, flesh out all that stuff, because I feel like we didn't get to see too much of Luke and Annabeth's relationship in season 1, and so to really see what they went through and their time, just kind of the reality of being a demigod, on the road, having to fend for yourself, it's a harsh reality, and I think I'm glad we got to give that to the fans.
Kelagia, goddess of stealth. You hide while wearing this. Monsters can't find you.
Luke, they found us. Positions, now!
I think that the flashbacks was something that was so ridiculously necessary because, in the books, we only really see Talía at the very end of season 2, or book 2. And at least in the show, Thalia is so heavily talked about in season 1, and so we don't really understand what is at the epicenter of this loss for Luke and Annabeth. We kind of hear about how we know that they love her and that loss was so great, but we don't really know why. And so I think it gives the fans an insight to kind of fall in love with Thalia themselves and experience that loss again, and kind of go through what Luke and Annabeth went through, which is really interesting because, you know, we'd never done it before. But I think that we got to have a lot of fun on set, and also, you know, explore the relationship of Thalia and Grover before she comes back, which is...
That was fun.
Yeah.
That intro of you flipping Grover because you don't know who he is.
Incredible.
I thought was the perfect way to establish what Thalia's position is in this group.
Absolutely.
I agree.
But so much of, like, Thalia's character motivates Luke's, like, actions throughout the entire show or throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
And obviously all the stuff that happens in Luke's diary, which we'll get into later, is a huge motivating factor. But I mean, we didn't have a Thalia until season 2. And so a lot of this stuff you just had to play without an idea of who that was. So what was Thalia for you? Like, how did you, like, essentially experience Thalia before T came in and defined her?
Yeah, we definitely get to hear so much about Thalia in season 1 and how much she meant to especially Luke and Annabeth and her great sacrifice and what a great, you know, warrior she was. But I think for Luke, like, you know, obviously he ran away from home when he was like 9. And from that point on, he was just on the road and having to find his own meals and fend for himself and literally fighting for his life every day, like with monsters and everything. And I think he would meet, you know, mortals like along the way, and he would sometimes make friends, but they never truly understood like what his situation was or what he had to go through on a day-to-day basis until he met Thalia in, like, I believe at Dragon's Cave. Like,
Yes,
just, like,
yeah.
meet randomly there. And we kind of like
yeah.
help each other survive. And I feel like Thalia might be like one of the first like demigods, like other demigods that Luke has kind of encountered. And so having her, and like she was the first person that truly understood him and what it means to be a demigod. And I think he found comfort in her and friendship, and like he never really had a family, but he found a family with like Thalia and Annabeth. And
Well, it'd be weird to talk about flashbacks without mentioning our incredible young Annabeth.
Yes.
Marissa.
She was so funny.
She was funny.
She was like an 80-year-old stuck in like a 6-year-old body.
Yeah.
I have such a funny story about Marissa. I remember, first of all, like just so talented and like professional, and was always like ready to go and just locked in. But and like Leah's cousin, right? Which is like
You could actually
incredible. Such a
probably
small world.
pick up a thing or two from Marissa, I feel.
Ah, gosh, I'm so happy to be on this
Okay,
podcast.
boys, keep going. Let's keep it going.
But anyway, yeah, no, it was like, yeah, and like keep in mind, I think it was like a night shoot because we had a few of those, and it was like freezing outside. We were all like just cold and pretty tired, and but I remember like we had done a few takes already, and it had been a long day, and then there was like a bit of a break, but then they were like, all right, guys, we're going again. And I just remember Marissa was like, and kind of like under her breath, but she was like, these people just love to go again. It was just so
She's
funny.
incredible.
Like, yeah,
She's
she was
so
the
funny.
best.
The best.
She's awesome.
Someone once asked her, like, oh, what's your favorite part of being here? Like, what's your favorite part of the day? And she's like, the going home part. And I remember, like, neither of us could keep it in.
I've never
started
related
laughing.
to anything more than that.
Yeah.
She's real.
Very
She's,
real, very honest.
I think I know the day that you're talking about, too. It was, like, out in the forest, I think? Or it was
Was it the forest or was it the warehouse?
The warehouse. Well,
That was,
both
like, kind of a
those
minute
are
ago.
moments that I want to talk about, especially the working out in the forest, because I remember at the top of the day, you were adult Luke. You were, you know, Ralph Polo Lauren Luke. And you had to come to set, put the wig on, and like transform into basically what is an entirely separate character in the same day like that.
Yeah.
And it was genuinely one of the most impressive things I've ever seen someone do. I wouldn't have been able to do that as quickly and seamlessly. It's like, what was that?
Thank you.
What went into that, like being able to do that?
At the beginning of the day, I was like current Luke, Kronos Luke, in my nice fancy clothes and
White skinny jeans.
my skinny jeans that they put me in.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the day, and that was I would say that was a good like 16-hour day.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, that was just like, it was so much fun though. And I definitely have Andrew McElroy to thank for a lot of that.
Shout out Andrew.
Yeah, shout out Andrew once again. He really
There's
helped me.
going to be a shout out, Andrew. Can't watch this.
Yeah.
Watch.
Can we put a tally up on screen? That's
Yeah.
what I mentioned.
Yeah.
Let's just have that written on the screen the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with current Luke and young Luke, he just really helped me bring them to life. And I remember, like, before we started filming any of the young Luke stuff, any of the flashback stuff, it was like a weekend, and he texted me on like a Saturday, and he was like, "Hey, meet me outside your building tomorrow."
This story is
at, like,
incredible.
10
I'm
a.m.
so excited to hear this again.
And I'm like, okay. So I meet him outside my building, and he has like a hoodie and like a beanie for me, and then like $5.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, put this on. And I put it on, and he's just like, wear like comfortable shoes to like walk in. And so I put it on, and he's like, okay, what are you gonna do? You're gonna walk around the city, like just Vancouver, and you're just gonna act like young Luke, and you're gonna find like his physicality, his walk, and you have $5, and you know Thalia and Annabeth are hungry. You got to get them food. So I literally I put this hoodie on. I had my hood up, and I'm just like walking around the city like a little more hunched, always looking over my shoulder because that's what young Luke probably would have been doing. You know, there's always a monster around the corner. And I went into like a donut shop, and I had like $2 left maybe, and I got like a couple little like donut ball things.
Yeah.
And we just did that for like 2-3 hours, and I was just like walking around. I mean, people probably thought I was like crazy, but yeah, and he just helped me so much with that. And
I also want to mention that he recorded it.
Oh.
And
Did he
this
actually?
This was the first week I arrived, and he showed me this and told me
showed
this.
you?
Yeah.
Can we get that clip and throw to it, please?
And it was incredible to watch, but it was also like, okay, so what show am I doing? What am I getting myself into?
yeah,
To bring it away from young Luke a little bit, I wanted to talk about older Luke. There's a pretty popular, I would say a majority of this fan base that sides themselves with the Luke apologists.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know whether, I mean, obviously, Charlie, I know you're biased, but T, which side are you on? Do you think that Luke did anything wrong? I know what side I'm on.
yeah. What side are you on?
Oh no. Is that my phone? I have to go.
You're getting an important call.
Yeah, I'm getting a very important call.
Sure.
I am a side of the Luke apologists.
Yeah.
I have
Beautiful.
to say, I think
This is a
that-
propaganda podcast.
Yes, this is.
Luke did
it's
nothing wrong.
propaganda.
Yes.
You're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right choice.
I think that I was actually thinking about this morning because I knew we were going to mention it. And I have such a deep answer, but I think it's so important. I think that in any story, it doesn't exist without an antagonist. And I find that a lot of movies and TV shows, there are a lot of apologists and people who relate and empathize with antagonists of shows because the reason they are the way they are is rooted by something that is very real and is something that a lot of people can relate to. And obviously this is quite a light show. It does get a little heavier, but it's a fantasy show. But I think that it's still so prevalent. I think what Luke went through is so prevalent, and it drives the person that he is today. And I think that, yeah, without him, it would be a less interesting story. So I do find him very interesting, and I do sympathize with him, and I think he's so key to the plot because, I mean, what a crazy arc to kind of switch up sides, number one. But also, again, he's a character with such depth. You know, he's ruthless, he's mean, he is, you know, this really hard-earned criminal.
Yeah.
But he also has this love for Annabeth, for Thalia, and that's what's driving him. And that's why I think people can relate to it, because we can be people who do bad things but have good intentions.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Like, I think Luke, he obviously doesn't wake up in the morning. He's like, another day of being the villain. Like, you know, that's not like his mindset. Like,
I'm so excited to torment children.
like, he's truly doing this with the best of intentions. Like, he thinks with all of his heart that he's doing the right thing. And that I think he he's trying to create a better world for Annabeth and Thalia and everyone. And I think that, I mean, that's something we see in episode 3 is like, I think Luke is like, he's like for the people, you know, like he's fighting for the people. Like he sees
thinks
the
it's gonna
gods
bring
as
back
like
the golden age.
Yeah, like he sees the gods as like this corrupt, you know, government in a way. And like he even says in episode 3, he's like every creature, every spirit, every demigod, like we're fighting for a new golden age where we can all be free. Like he's fighting for equality for all in a way.
Yeah.
No, except for the humans, but absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think his mindset too is like, if we want to make this omelet, we might have to crack a few eggs, you know?
Yeah, no, so true. I mean, an interesting analogy, but yeah, I like it.
We might have to eradicate like a whole race of people.
But it's fine. We'll be fine.
Demigods will be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's, I don't know, he has the best of intentions.
I think you're right. I was literally just about to say, I was watching the episodes 2 nights ago, and you were doing the speech about the fact that, you know, everyone is important and everyone is equal. And I just was like, yes. Like, I was like, okay, Luke, like, if I wasn't human, I'd agree with you.
Oh, I would
vote
for Luke immediately.
Yeah.
Good looking, well spoken.
I mean, true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why do you think Thalia hung out with him for so long?
That's why she decided to stay on the road with him?
Yeah, that's why she became a tree. She sacrificed herself for a very, very charming guy.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I wanted to talk about something that I find incredibly, incredibly interesting. I got the chance to talk to Rick earlier as part of prep for this podcast, and we could probably throw to the clip here.
One of the biggest changes that my son reminded me of, and I don't even know how this worked back then, but Luke was not in the original version. He was not even a character.
Interesting.
So but Luke is such a huge part of the story. I don't remember what that was like before Luke was in there. So, but he swears that wasn't part of it. So if you want to be a real purist, Luke is not canon.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't
wild.
really know that.
Yeah, he was never a
I didn't know
character.
that either.
Yeah.
And I think that's really
Wild.
interesting.
Yeah, it's just the fact, like that whole story to me is just so cool. Like the fact that
It is,
it started as a bedtime story and like, look at us now doing like a
TV show.
podcast.
Crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like it's nuts. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Rick and Becky.
Shout
Guys
out.
are the best.
I never understood what Thalia was doing in the tree. Is she the tree? Did she like become it? Is she inside the tree?
This is the biggest,
How much does she know about what Luke is doing to her? Does she feel pain? Is there more critical thinking behind it? Does she dream? Does she think, you know?
It's such a good question. This was I think also this was one of the biggest questions of season 2 for me as well. I think we kind of came to the conclusion that she almost is the tree, but also is inside, like both.
Yeah.
And that feels like a cheat answer, I know, but
Interesting.
She does have this kind of a consciousness, I believe. I think that she can feel, I think that she can dream. I think that there's a lot that kind of goes on for her inside the tree. And I think that it will be very interesting to see what difference that makes once she emerges.
I think she can hear Annabeth, even if there's not like
I
much
agree.
critical.
Well, that's why I think
analysis
she
of
can
it.
feel. Like, even if she can't hear, I think she can feel, you know?
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about like me stabbing you?
Oh, I
Right? Like,
mean,
does she understand? Like,
I think she doesn't. I think in that sense that she doesn't. I don't think she feels in that kind of a way. I don't think she is the tree. She doesn't bleed like the tree.
Yeah.
I think that, no, I don't think she does know. I think that she feels, she dreams, she kind of has these experiences, but what we did agree on is that like there was no concept of time inside of the tree.
Yeah.
And so it is quite literally, she's frozen in time.
Yeah.
Which makes the story, I think, more interesting because we don't know. It really kind of solidifies that misunderstanding of Luke and what is going on? Why is everyone saying he's evil? Why is everyone saying he did these things? Because like just yesterday for me, he was a great person.
Yeah.
He was my best friend.
before I move on to our next guests, I wanted to give Tia, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about someone who was very important to you.
Yeah.
And very important to this show. I mean, we literally could not have done it without him.
Yeah.
Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
I know you got the chance to be his daughter in a different show, which I thought was beautiful.
So when I was 15, I met Lance. He played my dad in another show. And funniest thing is I thought he hated me at first. Like, he's a very stoic guy. He kind of keeps to himself. And so I was like, okay, so he doesn't really like me, but that's okay. I'm like used to it because I'm a kid actor and like no one really wants to work with kids or animals, so it's fine. And I remember one day, it was maybe a month into shooting, we were sat together and I just didn't really know what to do. I was like, I need to talk because I can't sit here in silence. So I was like, if you could take home anything from Zeb, what would you take? And he sat there for a second. He was just thinking and thinking. And he looks up at me and he goes, well, I'd take you home, but you already have a dad. And I just bursted out laughing. And I was like, okay, wait, he likes me. Guys, everyone needs to hear that because he likes me. But yeah, he was so incredible. From then on, I kind of latched myself onto him. I was very inspired by his process and his past work and kind of everything he did, the way that he lived his life, the way that he exercised himself as a person, you know, all of those things. And then he kind of just became a very big mentor to me and a very important person in my life. We always joked about working together again. Every time I saw him, I'd be like, hey, if you ever need an extra, I'm around. I need work. But yeah, and then I remember actually the last time I saw him, he was coming out to do this, but he couldn't tell me what it was for. And he was like, I'm going to go do this show. And, you know, I can't really talk about it, but like, I'm just going out for a few days. And I was like, that's amazing. And actually, since we just talked about music, that night, we went back to his house and we played Claire de Lune on the piano. And that's one of my favorite songs to listen to too. But yeah, and then, you know, unfortunately, the things happened, but I had this amazing moment in life where it kind of just created this other life for me, which is this, which I don't know would have happened if he was still here, which is such an odd thing to say, but so interesting. And also, I find this show very important to me as a person too, because it was kind of the only thing that helped me grieve after his passing. It was the first thing I watched of his after he passed. I watched it in his house with one of his dogs, and I have a picture of me cuddling one of the dogs with a picture of Arian in the background from when I was watching the show.
It's during like the casino scene or something.
Yeah, it was the casino scenes. Yeah. And that was before season 2 was announced, before I even auditioned, before all of those things. Yeah. And I was just watching the show, and I remember doing actually an audition. I think it was my second audition with Dan and everyone. And I just got really emotional. I was just, I thanked them because I didn't know if I was going to book this, and I didn't know if I was going to see them again. And I just thanked them for like keeping everything in, and, you know, even, you know, having him in the show, because it was something that really helped me grieve as a person. And now it just feels like this was something that was meant to be in my life after that. And there's nothing that I'm more grateful for right now than this, because it, again, even throughout the process of, you know, shooting with Courtney B. Vance, who's incredible, it's just, it's all helped me heal in a way that I didn't ever really think was possible. And obviously I don't think that grief will ever leave me, but it certainly reframed his legacy to me, which is being able to carry that on in such a beautiful way. So this character, this show is so precious to my heart, and I think it'll be one of the most important things I'd ever do in my career.
Yeah.
I know who Kronos is. I am his son. Of course he's gathering strength. Of course he's coming. That is what we do. We snap and plot and strive. It was only a matter of time before he did again. Thank you for the news. It is the only reason I'm letting you leave alive.
I say it's time we bring on the people who actually make us look good on the day. Eli and Eric, thank you for joining us. It's so weird that you just magically appeared here out of thin air. It's crazy.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of
thanks
course.
for having us.
I wanted to ask, I think one of the most memorable moments of season 2 for me is obviously when T flips me over her shoulder and I get slammed across the pavement, which was great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, of course. But Thalia's fighting style is like very scrappy. T, you mentioned this while we were prepping for this episode. Like, she didn't train at camp. She like learned how to fight on the streets. Is that like, how do you build that version of combat versus like what is honestly like a much more, I guess, preppy style of fighting for Percy and for Luke?
we basically take our actors and actresses and work to their strengths. And what you brought to the table right off the bat was just this like ferociousness and like built to that. And it's the same thing that we do with like Walker and Charlie. And I mean, the whole cast is so talented that it's very easy to just go, oh, let's do this. And also playing to the character and everything, and any chance we can get to just throw you around is...
You'll take it.
We'll take
in
it.
a heartbeat. Yeah. I asked to do that stunt, and they were like, "No, you're probably gonna sit out of this one." And I'm like, "Guys, I could do it." And I saw the actual stunt, and I saw Vesh do it, who's my incredible stunt double. Shout out Vesh. And I was like, "Oh, thank God, I was not there for that." It's terrifying.
No, we can't do all this stuff with you.
And I feel like you two collaborate more than anybody really knows, especially like just audiences watching. Like when you think about it on paper, it makes sense that VisitVex and stunts work together, but
well, it's only as good as you know what he gives us to work with. Special effects and stunts are always like the place where we start. Some of the clips that we brought today are a great example of the collaboration with all of the departments, because the Ironclad it's just sitting on the set. You know, it's just it's not moving. Which is hard to believe. We did some movement with the camera. But, you know, how you grab the people, it's everything for our animators to be able to work with something that looks, believable. Like in the scene where the Viking is pulled off. We had a difficult moment there because it was every other person is yanked off the deck real quickly. This guy has to be held there because as Clarice comes up, she's trying to get to him. And so, it was like, well, what are we going to do? He's going to hold on with both hands. And, how do I animate that? Well, Eli's stunt helped me give you the sense that it's kind of playing with its food a little bit.
Interesting.
Like it clamps a hold of him, and we have like a little bit of the tentacle played out so it's not tight. And it's like grabbing him there, and like she comes close, and then it, whoosh, up he flies.
And it all goes back to planning. Planning an action sequence that has this much involvement with visual effects and special effects and obviously actors and stunt people and everybody. It comes down to like, where is the handover? Where can I take the action to the point where Eric gets involved, and then at the same time we put effects into it, splashing water and all the stuff. When I know what he needs, then I'll pull the person up to a certain height, and then I'll, pull them away and ratchet them away or hand pull them away, whatever it needs.
Yeah, and just like flipping you, it felt like it hurt. To me, that's like, okay, that's a success for him. Well, in the second clip, Clarice is like jumping off the gun and trying to grab Annabeth as she's falling into the water. Again, it was one of those things where I said, she does not look like she's flying. So often you'll see, it looks like she's, maybe a little magic. No magic at all. And yet she gets really high as she comes down and picks her up. And we were looking at the clip earlier today, and he said, "Oh yeah, the water looks really good." All of these shots, we had some splash, but we were adding all the water, in post, and it's that blending of all of this great action. His performers are so good to, just keep the camera. They know where the camera is, and they're gonna give you just enough to say maybe it is the real Annabeth.
I feel bad. I brought you guys on and just kind of immediately jumped into it. I never gave you guys a chance to talk about what you actually do. Like, just break it down for everybody at home watching or listening. What are your jobs?
I'm the stunt coordinator. Basically, I get all the pieces together and collaborate with the directors and all the different departments like Eric and anybody, given right down to the smallest detail of the easiest thing, which I always like to think that like the smallest gag is, treated as the biggest gag of the show, because every little detail matters.
Yeah.
Responsible for safety of actors, my stunt performers, crew at times, and just making it look really, really
Awesome.
good.
So I was just going to say, so much of what you said about your job is kind of ditto for me. Maybe not the safety aspects of it, but you're trying to look at the details. You're trying to say, what do we want to do with your shield, for instance?
Yeah.
That came up in a meeting with Craig and Dan, where it's like, well, we don't want this show to become, ungrounded. It's not a superhero show. So with her calling Aegis, we could have a camera that's pointing right at it as it opens up and you see leaves of it forming, or we could do it from the side. And when you do it from the side, it's much more subtle. We'll have a little bit that opens up. It's just so much more subtle and elegant and grounded when you do it from the side. And you see it, kind of the pieces fill in, and there's a little bit of filigree of hot metal that fuses and comes, with a little bit of smoke too.
Yeah.
But I mean, all really subtle. And I think I love that about the producers. It's about, a little subtle is better than a hammer, Yeah. We don't want to do that.
Totally.
But, visual effects are, I like to say the magic. I think it's the best, or maybe the second best job on the show, because, all my stuff happens in post, really.
Yeah.
It's seeing, looking at the befores and afters that we had in the clip. You just see how much is not there. And, it takes a long time, like 6 months to do the visual effects for a show like this, but worth every moment, every, repeat that you're watching and finding some, the water's not, the rain's too heavy, it's too bright, whatever it is. You're constantly revising to, as you said, look for the details and make sure that it looks as real as possible. Yeah. That's Percy Jackson. It's not supposed to be too magic.
It's an integration.
Your shield is a great example of it. And
he's constantly on set bugging me, like going like, all right, so a little bit more this way, a little bit more that way. And it's just like, all right, he's the guy 6 months later going, God, how do I make this work? So it really is like on the day.
Obviously, the moment that everyone's going to be talking about from the season, the Sea of Monsters sequence.
Lower cliff!
That alone is bigger than anything that we've done in season 1, I think, almost combined. And like what goes into that is just so ridiculous off camera that I want to hear what you guys had to go through to even put that together.
Oh my God, we started, months in advance with a sequence like that, and the collaboration starts with the director and Eli and special effects and myself, and we. You dream about all of the things that you want it to be, and you hope to be able to put it all in there. And we never really said no to anything. I think we both were hoping that the deck would move. It gives you a certain, but I look at the end product and say, I don't miss it. Like, I don't see it missing from the action.
Well, and also because it ended up going into a spiral, so it was kind of good that it was tilted to 8 degrees, like, one way.
That is something I'd like to talk about.
You made...
tilted the entire Ironclad set
8
degrees.
Yeah, it took days for them to do it.
Like, not even. I mean, the construction department was incredible.
They did it overnight.
Yeah, construction special effects. I think they projected days, and they did it in, like, overnight. Or something. We came back and it was all pitched. It's like 120-foot long ship.
Giant metal boat.
And they just went, eh. And we came back the next day and we were shooting on it.
For me, huge, because I'm adding all the water in, and the splashes from special effects roll down the deck, just like you would expect.
Exactly, and
gives us
that's the little details of that works for Eric, but also works for us, because when I say to Dior or Walker or Leah, like, you run out from the captain's quarters and run along the deck, well, we can tilt the camera, but it looks like they're just running flat. So you get the body positioning of running on a angled. We want to make it hard.
Yeah.
Hard enough, and then just hard enough.
Just a little bit hard.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So they can feel it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it does change the body position, the way everyone's legs
You have to fight
work,
against
and
it,
and then splash cannons hitting the. It's just like
Yeah.
all the elements.
Another thing that I guess is always going to be shocking to me. I'm never not going to be surprised by it. Is Tyson's eye.
No.
I mean, T, you saw that for the first time. Like, I saw a couple of previews of like what it was going to look like before we even started filming, but seeing it like actually up on screen was insane.
Yeah.
And like that's what I also wanted to talk about. Tyson time. I think that's something we've briefly mentioned in the past, but we've never really dived into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what goes into the process of making the Cyclops?
Well, it is. There's a couple of different ways that it's being done, but primarily it's done with a face swap, which is, and Tyson time plays into that, because what is Tyson time? Every time that Daniel would be in a scene, we looked at the lighting and said, okay, we would like him to perform saying what he had for lunch, whatever it was. It wasn't important, but seeing all to where the cameras are, what do his eyes look like? Because the whole point of it is we're taking two eyes and with some machines learning what he's doing, his blinks, his expressions, is he half-lidded, whatever it is, and we are applying that to a digital version of him that can then be comped into the shot.
Yeah.
And I'll take my glasses off because it's just this area.
Yeah, it's just that
because we wanted to
around
make
the
sure
eye.
we had as much of the nose, and everything here is him. It's Daniel. We don't replace any of that. The only time we had any real problems, of course, if you're using two eyes to train the one, is when he would turn away from camera and you'd only see one eye. It gives us all kinds of problems. So much so we asked the directors, don't have him turn like that. The best thing I can say about it is it enables us to see Daniel's performance. And that's the key, is we replace as little as we possibly can with this one eye. And even Daniel said to me, he goes, yeah, I really feel like you didn't take my performance away.
Yeah.
It's in there, because the eyes give so much.
Another huge collaboration I wanted to talk about was the collaboration between T, Eric, and Eli in the warehouse. Because Charlie and I were there for that, and we got to see Aisha jump out of the glass, and we also got to see T do a ton of the stunts, and watching it like put together and like the wires cleaned up and the harness taken out was incredible. And even just being in the VisFX room with you and seeing how you would minorly change the way the glass hit the floor, or like maybe we remove some of the glass or we turn it into dust, or just make it more believable. I mean, that's kind of the perfect example of like a harmonious collaboration between actor, VisFX, and stunts.
I don't know how many times I say, are you sure the actor's going to do that? he has an ability to get you guys to do things that I've been on a lot of sets. I've been around for a while, and it's like, right on. That's great. She's going to do it. He's going to do it, and it pays off, because anytime you can get the real person in, it means it frees up the director to put the camera in a place that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
And then you get something that's a lot more real. But it's funny that you were looking at I didn't know you were listening to us so carefully.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yeah, it is those details. It's like the glass hits the ground and it looked too much like smoke. It's that, glass doesn't look like smoke when it breaks. Little pieces of glass break off, and that's what we had to get. And it was a pretty simple solution. But, we added CG glass and took away a bunch of cables. And
Yeah.
it looks pretty badass.
Yeah, well, it's, like I was saying before, it obviously just, you can't always do it, but it really starts with the actors. And depending on who they are and their abilities and their willingness. And we are so fortunate to have all you guys, because everybody is so capable and so talented and physically talented that we can do as much as, we want to, as safely as we can, because it just creates so much more drama into the action.
Yeah.
Which is great, which is what we want, right? So, I mean, it's the same thing with you in season 1 when you put the flying boots on and we floated you away and then we brought you back in,
I have the best picture of me coming back down after being stuck up there, and Vesh is greeting me, and I'm backlit by this heavenly light and my arms are out. And it's this majestic shot of Vesh receiving me as I'm coming down.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that with anybody.
Yeah.
But I got to know
Thanks.
you, and I'm like, of course we'll do this. We're gonna bring in a whole bunch of pads, and we're gonna rig it safely and do the whole thing, and you'll remove everything else, and then put some performance into it, and it's all good.
This is one of his gifts. There's no question, embarrass you. I've seen that so many times where he will talk to you guys and he says to me, just give it time and, I'll work with them and I think we'll get there. And he does. And it's, that's something special to be able to make people actors feel comfortable enough to do it. It doesn't happen all the time. You guys are super wonderful for being so willing to do it.
I think I can speak for everyone. Doing the stunts is easily one of our favorite parts about being on the show. And it's just like childhood dream come true. This is stuff I would do for fun as a kid, and I think we all want to do everything, but there are definitely some things that we're okay, let's leave this to the professionals.
Oh no, the hardest part is actually holding you guys back.
Yeah, I want to do more things.
It's whoa, okay, you can do this, but that's a little bit.
We'd probably break our
bigger
backs if we tried to attempt that or something.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being such great guests and for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course.
Thanks for having us.
You're the guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode, and we'll see you again next week for episode 5. Watch and listen to the Percy Jackson and the Olympians official podcast, available on Disney Plus and wherever you get your podcasts. And don't miss Percy Jackson and the Olympians, now streaming on Disney Plus.